One of the best boards that I ever sat on wasn't an arts board, actually. I sat on a housing association board when I wasn't allowed to join an arts board while I worked at the Arts Council. And I think what made it a really great board was a mix of excellent skills around the table, a chair who created the space for everyone to contribute and who pulled out from people the best that they could bring to the table, and a really clear sense of delineation between what the executive's role was in that instance and what the governing body's role was. I think that the combination of those things was very powerful.
About it. And then the other thing that swayed me too was that there weren't any artists on her board. And that was really critical for me because I'd done some work for the company before and I know how important it is for an arts organization to have an artist on the board. And if that perspective isn't there, then I don't know what they're doing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to have an arts organization with no artists on the board. You have to have somebody that is sort of fighting the case for the artistic integrity and the artistic direction of what the company wants to do, and also to be supportive of the artistic director or whoever's the artistic lead in that company, so that they have somebody they can bounce off of. And so you have to be passionate about the thing that you want to do. And for an arts board, I think you have to like art. I think you have to be like creativity and like people wanting to be creative, and also understand that there is that the risks that an arts organization takes is not the same risk that a financial corporation or a bank will take. It's a very different kind of risk, and it's also a non-tangible risk, and that's the thing that trip a lot of people up. It's like I've been in discussions where they're going, well, why are we doing that? Because we can't see the benefit of it. And I'm like, well, you're not going to see the immediate benefit of it, but over time, if we sort of mine the artistic integrity of this one idea over a couple of years, then in 4 years' time, you'll see the benefit of what that has done for us, because it'll increase the profile or put us in a different direction, or lots of different organizations will be looking at that and going, oh, they've developed this kind of work and things like that. And that's where it trips people up, because it's not immediate risk and reward. It's not immediate kind of investments to get this one kind of thing. It's very ephemeral as well. And the other thing that makes both of them great is that people on those boards listen to each other. Like, genuinely listen to each other, and the discussion is not surface, and it's wide ranging, and it's deep, and it's important, and everybody's invested in the future of the company and wanting to see it do well.
Your style, so flexing your style for the thing you want to achieve is also really important. So an audit committee has by its nature to be formal, responsible and reporting. You know, it has some very important things to do. The gala committee, I mean, it was the most funny thing. It could have been a comedy committee, but you know, people were falling around laughing. But we raised over £900,000 from that one event, which is extraordinary because the people all bought into the fact that they could have a really good couple of hours once a month, and through it they will offer up a huge range of things that they would do from it. So flexing your style between kind of committees, boards, and at different times in board meetings as well. You can have a formal part where you get over all the formal stuff and then say, right, we're going to talk about what we think the impact of Brexit is going to be in the next 10 years, and get some expertise to come and help and really chew over some stuff, so all the board members feel that they can get involved, or you know, talk about artistic policy or whatever it is, so you can actually have a discussion rather than just a kind of reporting framework. I think that's really, really one of the most important things, that you get everyone talking and feeling in a role, but also those people who just want to talk or hit the table to be nuanced and understand their role. It's like a conductor of an orchestra, I suppose. Sometimes the trumpets need to be a little bit louder, sometimes the violins need to play down just a little bit. And the best chairs, so this is something about chairs, know the people well enough within the board when a conversation can really flourish, when to be quiet, when to lead, when to pull something out of the hat, and you know, suddenly a trombone can come out of here when people weren't expecting, but actually it make the whole thing perfect. Or a great theatre director will do exactly the same thing. You know, we've all been to see the same play 5 times, but the next one actually brings something out with a character that we never knew was there before. And that's something about putting out something from the executive as well.
Board. So my first experience of joining a board was, I think like how most people experience it, especially in the arts. There was no induction process. I wasn't familiarised with anyone other than a separate interview with the chairperson, and then obviously I had the relationship with the chief exec. But there was nothing to actually know who was in the room, why there were people that weren't on the room but they were on the, you know, so you would go for several meetings and never have met another one of the other trustees that were meant to be there, and why they're not there, and what is their role, and what's the history of that, why is the board made up the way it is, you know. So that process of familiarisation is kind of that responsibility. My experience has always been was with the trustee themselves and how much they take on that responsibility to familiarise and immerse themselves in that organisation. You know, it surprises me that many trustees don't get involved in any of the activities of an organisation, and yet they're sitting and making decisions for an organisation, and that's essential, I think, part of the process of becoming a trustee, is that you also immerse yourself in the activities, and you meet the beneficiaries and all those kind of touch points that then give you more of a 360-degree view before you're making a decision.
Really being engaged with the ones that I really feel part of are the ones who knit in other ways in which to develop the relationships across board members and across the team.
I think a lot of it comes down to the recruitment, of making sure you've got the right people in the room. People who are passionate about the organisation, who want to see it grow and who want to see you be adventurous and risk-taking and make the most exciting art you can. I think then it comes down to really looking at your planning enough going forward and giving them enough options. For example, a very practical thing, every year I propose a budget to our board, and we have an A to F budget. F is, the sort of horrible budget where everything potentially can go wrong. A is us getting all of the fundraising and all of the income that we're hoping for. All the budgets in between form the basis of the debate as to where our organisational priorities are, what our values are, what is going to be the first thing to go, what are the absolute core things we want to hold on to. And actually, when you start looking at it through that prism, it makes those risks potentially easier to take. So actually, if you look that we're going to do a big project and the worst that can happen is this, but actually a halfway house would be X, Y and Z, it means they're better informed to be able to take those risks. It's about giving them the right amount of information that allows them to make an educated and informed gamble with you. It's also about being really honest and upfront with your trustees and about building a track record. The good thing about doing a range of budgeting and a range of financial forecasting is that your trustees over time get to learn how accurate you are at predicting how well things might go. So actually, if I did 3 or 4 years and every year we ended up, on budget E or F, I think they would start saying, well, actually, you're being, in the politest terms, very optimistic. It is absolutely a fundamental need for humans to enjoy stories and to engage with culture. But sometimes, it is not necessarily seen as charitable. There are still a lot of people who have a very traditional idea of what charity is. It's something medical. It's something to do with foreign aid. It isn't necessarily something that people automatically think of when they think of charities. And actually, the people who are on those arts boards need to be incredible advocates for that work. They need to be able to go out, they need to make that case, and they need to make a strong case, not just to funders and people that might support that charity, but to the communities they're serving. They are the top level ambassadors of those companies, and they have got to be on the front foot when it comes to making the charitable case for why those cultural institutions not only deserve to exist and deserve support, but why they're absolutely essential to the communities they serve and to our national way of life.